We have heard the third reading of the bill for assessment to support teachers of Christian religion. Is there anyone opposed to this bill?
Here.
I call James Madison from Orange County to the floor.
My fellow Virginians, regarding this proposed assessment, I want to thank the Assembly for giving us this last year to determine the sentiments of the people. Thank you, good sir, for your proposition. Well-intentioned, but misguided. In this last year, 90 petitions have come to us from all areas of the Virginia Commonwealth, including those from Presbyterian conventions, Baptist delegations, and from the Mennonites. It is nearly a decade since we declared independence and began our journey toward freedom. Let us remember the people's voice. The 10,000 name petition that was submitted to our Assembly October 16, 1776. The people spoke their will then to proclaim religious liberty and to disestablish religion from government control. Today, I present 90 petitions from all corners of our Virginia Commonwealth, voicing those same sentiments. We, the subscribers, citizens of the Virginia Commonwealth, having taken into serious consideration a bill printed by order of the last session of the General Assembly, entitled A Bill Establishing a Provision for Teachers of the Christian Religion, we, conceiving that the bill, if finally armed with the sanction of law, will be a dangerous abuse of power, we are bound as faithful members of Free Virginia to remonstrate against said bill and to declare the reasons by which we are so determined. We dispute the said bill first because we hold it for a fundamental and undeniable truth that religion, or the duty which we owe our Creator, and the manner of discharging that duty can be directed only by reason and conviction, not by force or violence.
Hear, hear.
The religion, then, of every man must be left to the conviction and conscience of every individual man. And it is the right of every man to exercise it as these may dictate. This right is in its nature an unalienable right, the innate characteristic of the divine gift of free choice. It is unalienable because the opinions of men, depending not only on the evidence contemplated by their own minds, cannot follow the dictates of other men. It is unalienable also because what is here a right between men is a duty toward the Creator. It is the duty of every man to render to the Creator such homage, and such only as he himself believes acceptable. This duty to our Maker has priority over the claims of civil society. Before any man can be considered as a member of civil society, he must be considered as a subject of the governor of the universe, then as a member of secular society, subordinating his civil allegiance to the invisible, universal sovereign. We maintain, therefore, that in matters of religion, no man's right is abridged by civil society or government, and that religion is wholly exempt from its scope. Yea, any question facing society can ultimately be determined by the will of the majority. But we take warning. The majority may be guilty of trespass on the rights of the minority. We would protect minority, even individual religious belief. Secondly, we oppose the said bill because religion be exempt from the authority of society. Still less can it be subject to the legislative body. The legislature is but the creation of society. Its jurisdiction is both derivative and limited. The preservation of a free government requires not merely that the bounds which separate each department of power be invariably maintained, but more especially that no department or branch be permitted to overleap the great barrier which defends the rights of the people. Rulers who are guilty of such an encroachment exceed the commission which they derive their authority and are tyrants. The people who submit to it are governed by laws made neither by themselves nor an authority derived from them, and are slaves. Again, we remonstrate, we protest against this taxation to support Christian teachers, because it is proper to take alarm at the first experiment on our liberties. We hold this prudent jealousy to be the first duty of citizens and one of the noblest characteristics of our late revolution. The free men of America did not wait until usurped power had strengthened itself by exercise and entangled the question in legal precedents. Oh no, they saw all the consequences of abusive government in the principle, and they avoided the consequences by denying that principle. We revere this lesson too much soon to forget it. Who does not see that the same authority which can establish Christianity, in exclusion of all other religions, may establish with the same ease any particular sect of Christians, in exclusion of all other denominations? Who does not see that the same authority which can force a citizen to contribute even 3 pence for the support of any one religious establishment may force him to conform to any other establishment not of his choosing? Furthermore, we oppose the said bill because the bill violates the equality which ought to be the basis of every law. If all men are by nature equally free and independent, all men are to be considered as entering into society on equal conditions. Each relinquishes no more and retains no less, one than another, of their natural rights. Above all, each citizen is to be considered as retaining an equal title to the free exercise of religion according to the dictates of his individual conscience. Whilst we assert for ourselves a freedom to embrace, to profess, and to observe the religion which we believe to be of divine origin, we cannot deny an equal freedom to those whose minds have not yet yielded to the same evidence which has convicted us. If this freedom be abused, it is an offense against God. To God, therefore, not to man, must an account of faith be rendered.
Hear, hear.
As the bill under discussion violates equality by subjecting some citizens to peculiar burdens, so it violates the same principle by granting to others peculiar exemptions. Are the Quakers and Mennonites, whose petitions we have here today, the only denominations who think a compulsory support of their religion unnecessary and unwarrantable? Can their piety alone be trusted? We oppose this tax to support teachers of Christianity because the bill implies either that the civil magistrate or the sheriff is a competent judge of religious truth, or that he may employ religion as an engine of civil policy. That supposed competency is the same arrogant pretension displayed by the contradictory opinions of rulers in past ages. And religion as an engine of civil policy is an unhallowed perversion of the means of salvation. We object also because the tax proposed by the bill is not requisite for the support of the Christian religion. To say that the tax is necessary is a contradiction to the Christian religion itself. For every page of this bill describes a dependence on the powers of this world. Christianity existed and flourished without the support of human laws, and even in spite of every opposition. Nay, it is an affront. Christianity, not invented by human policy, pre-existed human policy and legal support. Legal enforcements weaken confidence in Christianity's innate excellence. Legal support of religion fosters in those who still reject it a suspicion that its friends are too conscious of its fallacies to trust to its own merits. But we would trust to Christianity's excellence. Furthermore, because experience testifies, history testifies, that ecclesiastical laws, instead of maintaining the purity and efficacy of religion, have had a contrary operation. During almost 15 centuries has the legal establishment of Christianity been on record. What have been its fruits? More or less, in all places, pride and indolence in the clergy, ignorance and servility in the laity, in both superstition, bigotry, and persecution. Christianity, in its greatest luster, is found limited to the ages prior to its incorporation with government policy and legislated enactments. Propose a restoration to a primitive state in which Christian teachers receive only the voluntary contributions of their flocks. Many actually predict its downfall, but we would trust to Christianity's excellence. We oppose further because the tax assessment in question is also not necessary for the support of civil government. If religion be not within the scope of civil government, how can its legal establishment be necessary for civil government? What influence, in fact, have ecclesiastical laws had on civil government? They have been seen to erect a spiritual tyranny on the civil authority. They have been seen upholding the thrones of political tyranny. In no instance have they been seen to be the guardians of the liberties of the people. Rulers who wish to subvert public liberty may have found and established clergy convenient accomplices. A just government instituted to secure and perpetuate public liberty needs them not. Such a just government will be best supported by protecting every citizen in the right of his chosen religion, and with the same equal hand which protects his person and his property, by neither invading the equal rights of any denomination, nor by permitting any sect to invade the rights of any other. We oppose because the proposed tax to support teachers of the Christian religion is a departure from the generous policy which, offering an asylum to the persecuted and oppressed of every nation and religion, promised a luster to our country. What a melancholy mark is said bill of such sudden degeneracy. Instead of holding forth asylum to the persecuted, it is in itself a signal of persecution. It degrades from the equal rank of citizens all those whose opinions and religion do not bend to that of the legislative authority. Distant as it may be in its present form from the Inquisition, it differs only in degree. The tax is the first step, persecution the last in a career of intolerance. The sufferer under this cruel scourge in foreign regions must view this bill as a signal warning him to seek some other haven where liberty and philanthropy may offer a more certain asylum. We oppose because it will destroy that moderation and harmony which the restraint of our laws to intermeddle with religion has already produced amongst our several denominations. Torrents of blood have been spilt in the old world by the tyranny of the secular arm to distinguish all difference in religious opinion. Time at length has revealed the true remedy. Every relaxation of narrow and rigorous policy has been found to heal the disease of religious intolerance. Our American experiment has already exhibited proofs that equal and complete liberty destroys that malignant influence of religious intolerance on the health and prosperity of the state. Under our own eyes, we see the benefits of Virginia's system respecting freedom of conscience. If we begin to contract the bounds of religious freedom, history will severely reproach our folly. Let us take warning at the first sign of such a threat. The very appearance of this bill to tax citizenry for the support of teachers of Christianity has transformed that Christian love and forbearance and charity which of late mutually prevailed between our several denominations into animosities and jealousies. What mischiefs may be dreaded should this bill, this enemy to public quiet, be armed with the force of law? We cannot support said bill because the policy of the bill is actually adverse to the diffusion of the light of Christianity. The first wish of those who enjoy this precious gift ought to be that it is imparted to the whole race of mankind. But such a law at once discourages those who are strangers to the light of revelation. Instead of leveling as far as possible every obstacle to the victorious progress of truth, the bill, with an ignoble and unchristian forceful spirit, would incite a wall of defense. Rather, to quote the Holy Scriptures, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. We oppose further because attempts to enforce by legal sanctions that are obnoxious to so many citizens, witness our 90 petitions, tend to engender disrespect for the law in general and to slacken the bounds of society. If it be difficult to execute any law not deemed necessary or salutary, how much more where the law is deemed invalid and dangerous? We oppose, not in the least because, finally, the equal right of every citizen to the free exercise of his religion, according to the dictates of his own conscience, is held by the same tenure with all our other rights. We recur to its divine origin. If we weigh its importance, it cannot be less dear to us than all our other rights. If we consult the declaration of those rights, which pertain to the good people of Virginia as the basis and foundation of government, the right to the freedom of conscience is enumerated with equal solemnity, or rather with studied emphasis. Either then, we must say that the will alone of this legislature is the measure of their authority, and that, in the plenitude of this authority, they may sweep away all our fundamental rights. Or we must say that they are bound to leave this particular right untouched and sacred. Either we must say that they may control the freedom of the press, may abolish the trial by jury, may swallow up the executive and judiciary powers of the state, even that they may despoil us of our very right of suffrage and erect themselves into an independent and hereditary assembly, or we must say that they have no authority to enact the law under consideration. We, the subscribers, say that the General Assembly of this Commonwealth has no such authority. No effort may be omitted on our part against so dangerous a usurpation. We are spiritually minded, praying men. Nevertheless, we oppose said bill to fund teachers of Christianity. We oppose to it this remonstrance. We earnestly pray that the supreme lawgiver of the universe, by illuminating to those to whom it is addressed, may turn our counsels from every act which may affront his holy prerogative or violate the trust committed to us. We pray that he may guide us into every measure worthy of his blessing, which may redound to our own praise and may establish more firmly the liberties, the prosperity, and the happiness of our Virginia Commonwealth. My fellow Virginians, consider these 90 petitions submitted today from all corners of our Commonwealth, protesting this tax assessment to fund teachers of religion. These people have confirmed their sentiments of 1776 for religious equality and disestablishment from a government-controlled religion. Let us remember the petition of 10,000 names submitted to the Assembly in 1776. Fellow Virginians, I respectfully ask for your nay vote on this bill for a tax assessment for the provision of teachers of the Christian religion.
We have heard the delegate from Orange County. We do have a quorum, and now the vote. How many are in favor of this bill to provide tax resources to support the Christian teachers? How many ayes?
Aye.
And how many are opposed to this bill as you have heard it and understand the issues? Nays?
Nay.
The nays have it.
Yeah, certainly. Thank you for all your support.